Problem 18 from the review paper. In this problem, you and a friend are sitting in class. The center of mass of you and the center of mass of your friend are 3.8 meters apart. We're going to find the mass of both you and your friend if the friend has a mass that is 1.5 times that of your mass, and the force of attraction between the two of you is 2.45 times 10 to the negative 8th newtons. We already have our picture drawn. We've got person on the left, person on the right. We'll call this person M1. We have the distance here between them is 3.8 meters, and we know that the mass of the first person is 1.5 times the mass of the second person. This is a very straightforward Newton's law of universal gravitation problem, so that's what we're going to use. The force of gravity is the gravitational constant multiplied by the two masses divided by the distance between them squared. Now, one of the masses is 1.5 times that of the other, so I'm going to change this slightly, and we will have mass 1 is 1.5 times mass 2, and we still have that mass 2, and that's all divided by the distance between them. And that comes from the fact that we know that one of the person's masses is 1.5 times that of the other. We're going to simplify this. Mass 2 multiplied by mass 2 is quite simply the mass squared. So simplified, that becomes gravitational constant times 1.5 mass 2 squared divided by the distance between them squared. And from here we can plug in some numbers. Actually, we have to rearrange the equation first because we're trying to solve for the mass. Multiply the r squared over, and I get force of gravity times r squared. Divide the g and the 1.5. And that would give me m2 squared, but I don't want m2 squared, I just want m2. So I have to take the square root. Now we plug in our numbers, and we can figure out what this mass is. So the force of gravity is 2.45 times 10 to the negative 8th. The distance is 3.8 meters. G is always 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11th. If you forget where that comes from, it was in your notes. That is a constant of nature. Everywhere it is always 1.5. Or excuse me, 1.5, 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11th every time you see it. And we have our 1.5 that was left over from the masses. Take my square root, and all of that would give me the mass of the second person. I plug it into my calculator, and I get 59.5 kilograms for mass 2. And mass 1, therefore, is 1.5 times that. We know that right here. So mass 1 has to be, I'll find some empty space for it, put it up here in top right. Mass 1, therefore, has to be 1.5 times 59.5 kilograms. So mass 1 is 89.2. And those are our answers.